In this video, I'm going to deep dive into one super common thing that holds people back from being able to deep squat. And that super common thing is the inability to open their groin, open their taint, if you will, enough. Okay, look at my deep squat. Notice how I'm sitting my torso in between my thighs. Okay, look at me from the side view. See, torso, for the most part, is in between the thighs. Now, look at what happens if I close off my groin. If I start the descent into my deep squat by making sure that this cannot open, and instead I stay here. Gosh, it's a lot harder to get down, isn't it? Let's check me out from the side view. And now you can see my torso, it isn't sitting in between my thighs at all. See that? It's like it's stuck. And for me to get lower, I now have to rely more on rounding my back, which it's not bad. Rounding the back is not inherently harmful, but it's not a viable strategy for me to get lower compared to if I just open my groin a bit more. So if you lack the movement option of opening your groin enough and you want to deep squat, then I would argue regaining that groin opening movement option would be a great thing for you to do. Some people might be asking at this point, oh, isn't this just the same thing as trying to shove the knees out as hard as you can? I would argue, no, not exactly, because you can shove your knees out and not really open your groin much at all. And instead, you just start accidentally clenching your butt as hard as you can. And if you clench your butt as hard as you can, then you can't get all the way down. Okay, because your butt muscles, they need to lengthen, they need to stretch enough for you to get all the way down. The analogy I'd make here is, imagine your butt muscles are your bicep, and you're trying to straighten your elbow. If you clench your bicep so hard that your forearm is not going down, then you see that's very counterproductive to your goal of straightening your elbow. Your bicep simply needs to lengthen enough for your elbow to straighten, in the same way that your glutes need to lengthen enough for you to be able to sit down here. Does that make sense? So if after watching this video so far, you're like, oh, I'm not sure if I can actually open my groin enough. Great, what do I do about it? Well, the first thing that I would recommend is just trying the cue, open your groin, open your taint as you descend into a deep squat. Know what you're optimizing for, opening your groin, and then experiment with different stances and pick the stance which allows you to best fulfill that condition of opening your groin. Because maybe you already have the movement option of opening your groin, but for whatever reason, you're just not accessing it. In which case, the fix is simple. Just use that cue in your squat, and you won't need any other exercises to help you do that. Okay? But let's say you've tried that cue, open your groin in your squat, and it's not going anywhere. In that case, you might want to try to isolate that skill of opening the groin using a different exercise. Okay? The first one that I'm going to show you is one where I'm going to target this back hip. Okay, my knee here is bent to 90 degrees. If need be, I can sit on something to make it easier, but here I'll just show you sitting completely flat on the floor. From here, what I'm going to try to do is wiggle my pelvis around my thigh bone and try to get my groin as close to the ground as possible. Okay, I'm going to wiggle and try to find the exact angle that allows my groin to get lower. Okay. And once I find that, that's my pathway to improving that skill of opening my groin. Okay? Do this for, let's say, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, not nonstop. Take as many breaks as you need. Just do this for some amount of time that allows you to feel like you've leveled up in, number one, knowing where your groin is on your body, and then number two, opening it up. And then you do that for the other leg, and then you take it back into your deep squat or attempt at deep squat, and you see if you can find that same sensation. Does that make sense? You isolate and then you integrate. Okay, so that's the first exercise to try to open your groin more. The second exercise, you're going to be on your back and you're just going to try to let your thighs fall towards the floor, but also while trying to bring your knee towards your head. Okay, because your body, it's going to want to cheat the groin opening. So again, very simple. Try to bring your knee to the floor while also trying to bring it up towards your head. My suggestion is 5 to 10 minutes. It doesn't have to be non-stop, but spend 5 to 10 minutes here. Build your awareness of where your groin is in space. Build your control over the muscles that articulate your hip joints, and then bring that skill back into your deep squats or attempts at deep squats. You isolate the thing that you need to work on, and then you integrate it back into the thing that you originally wanted to work on. So let's review this video. Why do you need to be able to open your groin enough to build a deep squat? Because to deep squat, you've got to fold your torso behind your thighs, behind your shin bones. And to do that, you need to be able to sit your torso in between your thighs, your pelvis in between your thighs. And you can't do that if your groin is not opening enough. And again, this doesn't mean that you try to shove your knees out as hard as you can, because if you shove your knees out as hard as you can and then you accidentally clench your glutes, then clenching your glutes, keeping it clenched, that's also going to prevent you from getting lower. Just like clenching your bicep disallows your elbow from fully straightening. Got it? So that is why I specifically say open your groin and not just shove your knees out as hard as you can. And that's the video. If you found it useful, please give it a like. Please share it with anyone else who may also find it helpful. If you have any questions about what I covered, please do not hesitate to leave a comment below. And if you want more content on squats and deadlifts, I invite you to subscribe. Cheers.